I'm so excited to finally be bringing you this video. It's been in the works for ages and it's finally here. Hi and welcome to my very first reading journal video. I need to preface this video by saying that I've never kept a reading journal before. I've got no basis of what I want in a reading journal or what I need and what works for me, so everything that I've done for this setup has been based on my own reading habits and checking out lots of different people's reading journal videos and images. Also, quick disclaimer, I am sick at the moment, so if my voice sounds off, I'm really sorry and hopefully it's not too distracting for you. I set this up a while ago, and so I've been using it since then, and while I know there will be some tweaks for my next journal, so far I'm really liking what I've done. I'm using a journal from Notebook Therapy in a B5 size in a gorgeous green colour. I specifically chose a B5 because I read a lot and I often have big thoughts and big feelings, so I wanted to be able to give myself plenty of space to write and decorate as needed. I haven't really gone for a specific theme for this setup, I just wanted a kind of literary vintage feel. I've used these gorgeous Baroque papers that I got from Journal Say, along with some reading stickers from Notebook Therapy, sticker sheets from my Sticky subscriptions and advent calendars and other bookish stickers. The Bibliophilia Ephemera sticker book I have came in especially handy for this video, and I've also added a touch of a magical vibe. I love how most of it came together, and I hope that you do too. Starting out with the nameplate page, which by the way is stunning in this journal, and just writing my name in a shimmery green ink that I got from Ferris Wheel Press. And then we're moving straight onto the cover page. When I sketched out the plan for this video, I totally didn't think about the fact that I was making a grid spacing guide and that I would normally put that where I have the cover page right now and then have a full cover spread. I end up putting the grid spacing guide on the inside cover, and I guess it gives me more pages for the things I need, which is a good thing given the amount of books that I read in May and July. I have been in a massive reading hyperfixation since the end of last year, but I only started tracking what I was reading in May, and since I was tracking it, I decided to backdate my reading journal to then, so it's going to take me a little while to catch up to where I am now. I am glad I did this, honestly, because there were some incredible books I read during that time, but it's also a little tricky given my memory issues. I'm having to go back and read plot summaries to refresh my memory so I can write my reviews. Anyway, the first functional spread that I've added is a books read tracker, where I can quickly see everything that I've read in this journal, as well as the author, date finished, the format, and the star rating. I really enjoy watching Erin Smith's reading journal videos, and she devised her own star rating system, which I'll try and remember to link her video for that in the description box. And because she seems to have similar thoughts to me on reviewing, I'm using her Peach rating system for this journal. This spread is good for seeing the actual order that I've read stuff in, since for at least the months that I'm backlogging, I'm not adding the reviews in exact reading order. This is just because some reviews require more space than others, and I've shifted things around to make the best use of the pages, but you'll see all that in my May reading video coming up. I've hand-lettered a font that I found online, which I'll link to in the description. I wanted something that was both vintage feeling and a little fancy, and I really liked this one, but I don't love it as much in execution. I mean, it's fine and it's not terrible or anything, but I think I'll choose something different for the next time. I used Prismacolor pencils to colour the lettering, which is part of what I don't love about it, I think. I'm wondering if I should have just filled in the letters with black. I don't know, what do you think? This book's red tracker is something that I'll be tweaking in my next journal. I wanted to be able to maximize the space and have as much info as possible here, which is the most important thing, obviously, but I still couldn't fit things the way that I wanted, and I don't love how the cramped decoration looks. I also tried using my silicone letter stamps and had issues and had to restamp on a new bit of paper and glue it in. I'm considering that my next reading journal may need to be a large square journal so I can have more width for this sort of spread. I read a lot, typically, so I've done 2 of these spreads, and I've also left space for another 2 of these spreads, just in case. Once my reading hyperfixation has settled a bit, which it's starting to do now, I'll have a bit of a better idea for the next journal of the sort of space that I'll need. Moving on now to my series tracker spread. I've used a section from here for my grid spacing ruler, where I've also added the peach rating system information, and I just need to say that I went through a huge hockey romance phase, so there's a lot more sports romance on this series list than there might have been otherwise. I've broken the series tracker down by genre, so I have sections for sports romance, small town and country romance, which are probably my 2 biggest read genres at the moment, as well as romantic comedy, billionaire romance, and romantic suspense / mystery / thriller. I'll likely need to add a fantasy and a horror section at some point too, which is interesting because up until late last year, I read almost exclusively fantasy with some horror and YA thrown in. Side note, I was unhappy with the stamping on the first spread, so I just switched to my cursive handwriting for the titles, other than the fancy font, I mean. Also, this is one of my favourite spreads for this setup, and I just adore how it looks. Okay, so flipping back to my first spread, and I had issues here. I wanted to use my star rating stamp here so I could just colour in the star rating for each book, but first of all, I didn't have quite enough space for this stamp because it was a little bit too large, and second of all, I kept misaligning it, and it was bad, okay? So I go over those mess-ups with a white Posca paint marker, which looks pretty terrible, and I just drew my own stars for each book. And despite being an artist, I cannot draw stars for a star rating well, so this whole page is just kind of, well, I mean, it's fine, honestly. It's not the end of the world, and I just went with it, but also just know, like, well, I don't love how that part turned out. I'm not letting it stop me from using the journal. If any of you watching are like me, you probably strive for perfection as well and feel let down by mistakes and your vision not matching the reality, and it can be quite a struggle to overcome. I 100% feel that. But I'm just saying that it's okay to be imperfect and to make mistakes. It's still beautiful and it doesn't diminish your work or your worth. Plus, it's still usable, so we go with it. Okay, I'm done, I promise. My next set of pages is for a release radar, as well as a TBR and a recommendations list. I definitely wanted the release radar because I often forget when books that I'm looking forward to are coming out, and I can't always keep track, especially with the many series that I'm apparently reading, but I'm not sure how much I'll actually use this. So far I've barely touched it, but we'll see. As for the TBR, I'm not sure that's something that will be kept for my next journal. I'm a mood reader, and I have so many books on my list of what I want to read, it's ridiculous. But because I'm a mood reader, I might add something to my list and then not feel like reading it for months or even years. And I also might find something and want to just read it immediately. So yeah, this might not be a spread for me. Once I start uploading these videos though, I'm hoping we can share recommendations in the comments, so I suspect that will be a section that gets some use. I don't typically use word or phrase stickers in my journal, nor do I typically use people stickers, but I found myself using both for this journal to my surprise. Oh yeah, also my books read page was feeling a bit off, so I added line highlights with some soft colour using a green and a brown to sort of tie in with everything else that I've done. The first brown I tried was too dark, so that's why one line is in a darker brown, so many mistakes in this setup, but that's okay, Tash, it's okay. I'd also pre-filled in some of the books that I'd read for May and June so that I had some idea of the space that I would need, and that was a mistake, to be honest, because I needed to erase more, which in itself was annoying, but also having gone over it with marker meant it was pretty much impossible to erase the pencil completely. Look, yes, I made mistakes, but I learnt from them probably, and know better for the next one. My next spread is my Hall of Fame. I really liked this idea when I saw it in other people's setups, and so I wanted to try it for myself. I've decided that anything that gets 4.5 stars or higher will go in the Hall of Fame, since it's rare for me to rate a book that high. I've also added in some other sections for my Hall of Fame, including my favourite author and audiobook narrator, as well as my most read author and my most listened to audiobook narrator. Moving on now to the last spread of this video, my book tracker. I don't know if this is necessary really, but it is fun. I got a set of stamps from the Quirky Cup Collective so that I could stamp all the bookcase books to make it faster. I could have just hand drawn them, but honestly I already barely have time for these videos, and so I'm trying to keep them as simple and as easy as possible, and these stamps definitely do that. Plus they come with a little star rating stamp, which is awesome, and I needed one. It is a little larger than I'd like though, the star rating stamp, so I'm looking out for a smaller one. The first few bookshelves aren't the best here, but once I'd figured out the placement of the stamps a little better, I think they ended up looking really great. I also hand drew a bookcase for them to sit in because I can't help myself. I left it in just black and white though because I wanted the book covers to pop. I've only done one of these for now, but I've left space for another of these spreads since I'm not sure how much I'll end up needing. For my next journal, I'm hoping to have a better idea, and then maybe I can add some decorations to my bookcase. Oh, also I'm going back here to previous spreads and just finishing up the decoration on them. A lot of them felt kind of lacking, like they were there but not quite all the way there, if you know what I mean. So I go back in and add any other elements to make it feel finished. I'm a bit all over the place in this video actually, and more than I usually am, which I feel is a pretty impressive feat for me. And now I'm finishing up by making my grid spacing ruler. This is pretty simple, and I've done it in past videos for my bullet journal, so you can check out those videos for a better explanation if you're interested. I also made a little pocket to keep my ruler in and decorated it to match the theme, and that's it. A quick side note, the grid spacing ruler is not my design. I first saw it on an Erin Smith video, but I've seen other people do it too, and you can find plenty of videos on how to make one of these for yourself all over YouTube. So it's 100% a borrowed idea and not my original one, but I do love using them and I find them really handy. And with that, my first reading journal setup is complete, and I'm so excited to be sharing this new type of video with you. Just a quick note though, I won't be linking to items used in this video and future reading journal videos, just because I use such a huge range of stuff and there wouldn't really be room for everything. But I will have the journal listed and a few other bits and pieces, and if there's anything specifically that you want info on, feel free to ask in the comments and I'll try and help the best I can. Speaking of comments, if you've watched all the way to the end, leave me a book-themed emoji in the comments to show that you're still here. And don't forget that if you've enjoyed watching this and you'd like to see my reading thoughts, you can subscribe for free and get notified when I upload my next video. I'm currently editing my books read for May, so make sure you keep an eye out for that. As always, thank you so much for being here. It means the world to me that you chose to spend your time with me today. And wherever you are, I hope that you are having a wonderful time of day and are as safe and as happy as you can be. And hopefully I'll see you soon for my May reading video.